Hi, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ashley.
We'd like to welcome you to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We're two friends sit around and talk about healing, growth, and healthy relationships.
Hey,
Hey,
Ashley.
hey, Dawn, how are you? I was
I
thinking when I went to say that, like, she's going to say it, don't say it, and it still came out.
I know.
How's it going?
It is good. How about you?
It's good. It's good.
Good. What you been up to?
Nothing. This weekend has been a lot of relaxing. I did some house cleaning and some laundry and, working.
Okay. Yeah, just normal every day. Same here. Work has been busy, and you know, I had this conversation with my coworker the other day. Well, yesterday actually. No, Friday. And we were talking about, I'm always like, year end for me is always very stressful. It's really super long hours. I'm exhausted the whole time. It's just because it's so much.
Hmm.
And this year, right, we went through these massive transitions, and I'm air quote helping out a team, and some of this work is going to be transitioning off me, blah blah blah. And what we've noticed is, yes, has it been a lot? Yep, it's been a lot. Has it been nonstop? Yes. Has it been, am I tired? Yes. But the pressure this year is not there. There's, and what we kind of determined was my old manager who's no longer over us is 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 not there. And that is the piece because there was always this, how's it going? How's it going? Right? When do you think I'll have this? When do you think I'll have that? And so there was that constant pressure to get it done, to get it to her so she could leave us alone so we could keep doing, quit getting interrupted. And so then my coworker and I would time it like, okay, I'm going to give her this and this. So that'll keep her busy for this long. And then she's like, then my coworker, I'll give her this and this. And then and so it was a lot of that, managing that around on top of doing our work. And we don't have that this year. Right. We're the ones waiting on people to sign off on things.
Isn't that
Nobody's
nice?
asking us where things are. So what it's done is just the pressure. There's no added pressure. And so it's been like, well, this has been easy, like relative easy. You know what I mean? It's just,
Right. Like it's a lot and you're exhausted, not exhausted, but you're tired and you're
yeah,
ready for it to be over already. And you're working late nights and getting up early mornings and working
right.
Saturdays and sometimes
Yep.
on Sunday. And right, I get it. It's still a lot. But when you have a manager that supports instead of cracks the whip,
Yes.
it's right when you have a manager that's behind you picking up the pieces that you drop. It's a lot better than when you have a manager that's behind you screaming, yelling, and hollering at you.
Right. Like, even though she maybe did it nicely,
Right. I'm using an analogy.
no, and I know
Paint a
that.
picture.
Right, right. And why I'm saying this is right, people can do it nicely, but the problem is you're still pushing. You're still nagging. You're still, and
Yes.
that, I, so then the frustration comes in, distracts me from my work, means usually got to get up, walk away, get away from it because I'm frustrated. And then I lose, an hour trying to get myself back into this place where it's like,
Right. I
okay,
mean, even if you only take a 15-minute walk or a 10-minute walk, if you spend 5 minutes in a conversation and debating the conversation with your manager, and then get frustrated and go take a 10-minute walk,
yep,
and then you come back and you sit down at your computer and you pull all your current tabs up and you remember where you left
yep,
off. I mean, at that point, you're looking at 30, 45 minutes easy every
exactly.
single time.
So it's just been very refreshing to not have that. My coworker and I work very well together. It's really funny. We were joking about this. I remember things and know how to do things she doesn't, and she's not very as good at as I am. And there are things that she's remembers and is good at that I'm not. And so it's a very complementary way of working. So if I get stuck on, I'm like, I don't get this. I don't get this. And I'll, hey, I need a second. Right? We'll get on the phone. She's like, oh no, do this, this. And so we don't waste any time. She does the same thing to me. I'm like, oh no, no, no. It's this. Oh, okay. And keeps it. So her and I have a great team camaraderie, work together, get things done. And so then now to not have this pressure, it's just been much more enjoyable. And I say that very loosely.
I mean, yeah, considering what you're doing.
Right. I haven't had to work. I mean, I've worked late, not going to say I haven't. I've worked Saturdays and Sundays, not going to say I haven't. But there's been times I'll say, "Oh, I worked till midnight, 12 o'clock." And I haven't, knock on wood, have not had to do that yet this year end. I'll be probably very close to being done within by the end of the week.
Wow, that's early too, isn't it?
It is early too. Yeah.
Wow, good job, man.
So it's just, I think that speaks for itself.
You know, I love that you're saying this because it shows the difference that just having a good manager, a good supervisor, a good boss versus a not so good one.
Yep.
Not even that it's bad,
Right.
but not so good. It shows the difference. So I'm in my very first ever supervisory position. And I currently we've had some changes. We've been a little bit slow, so we've had some cuts, but I currently have a team of 14. And it's such a fine line to have the level of respect that they have to have, right? I mean, some of these guys that I work with are 20 years old, 22 years old, 24 years old. These are
Hmm.
the age of my children. And they have to have this a level of respect for me as their boss.
Right.
And at the same time, I have to have a level of respect for them as my team, right?
Yes.
There's absolutely no way I could be successful without them. And it's a very fine line to walk between being the boss that delegates and directs and makes sure things get done, and if somebody is unreasonable, we have to hold them accountable, and still being, these are my guys, this is my team, this is my support, this is my backbone, right?
Hmm.
It's a very fine line to walk, and I try to go into work every single day extremely mindful of walking that line with my team. um and it's not always easy. We had a situation on Friday where I don't think it was anyone on my team. I think there were some people from another department in our building,
Hmm.
and one of the men decided to urinate all over the toilet,
Oh,
all over it. Like it wasn't an accidental couple splashes, it was an intentional. I peed all over the toilet, the back of it, the seat, everywhere,
okay.
and then smear their feces on the toilet paper, like all over the top of the roll of toilet paper, the side of the roll. Like it wasn't pretty.
This was an
Um,
employee?
yes. Oh, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and I called a meeting immediately, right? It was not pretty. I was not happy. My tone was one that they had never heard before. My body language was one that my team had very, very, very rarely seen.
Hmm.
And when we ended that meeting, I had two separate people approach me and say, I'm so glad that you did that, because they needed to see that there is a line where Ashley is no longer a member of the team.
Right.
Ashley is their boss and they will be in trouble.
Yeah.
And I never, so for me, that again, it's a very fine line, right? Like, yes, I am their boss. And yes, I have to hold them accountable. And at the same time, I am a part of their team and I should be behind them picking up the pieces that fall off their plate. Yes, I am their boss and their supervisor, but at the same time, I am a member of their team and I should be coming behind them and picking up the pieces that fall off of their plate.
Right.
It is a very fine line to walk, and I'm glad to hear you say how much it matters to have a manager that is able to do that. Because sometimes, especially after a situation like Friday, you go in there like, God, I don't want to deal with children. And again, I don't want to say I don't think this was my team. We had people from another department come in. I've never dealt with that in the 2 years I've worked at this place.
Yeah,
So,
but
um, and at the same time, right, that there's something that when you have to deal with that, like I don't want to have to clean up someone's urine and feces. I'm like, we
no.
are adults. These are not 2 year olds. Come on. Um, so it matters. I don't know. It just it mattered to me to hear you say how important it was to you in this stressful time because we are like we're slow in the business, but
Mhm.
because of cutbacks, we've had to become extremely more efficient.
Right.
So it feels busy, even though we're slow financially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's important. I think I needed that little boost to hear you say how important it is to have a manager that is going to support you. And when you drop, right, when there's too much on your plate and something falls off, your manager's behind you to pick up the pieces and not yell at you and berate you
Right.
or punish you or push you or whatever, you know?
Right. Saying, hey, if this is if you're feeling overwhelmed or you shouldn't be feeling overwhelmed, and if you are, you need to come to me and we'll readjust some things. And it's really funny because when I had that conversation with my VP, because I now report directly to my VP instead of having a in between. Um, and I was a little overwhelmed because I had gotten all this new stuff, new tasks that I'm going to be doing, and I'm still supporting my old job, which is a lot. And I was feeling very overwhelmed, especially when you don't know, you've never done something before, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
here's the files, and let me know if you have any questions. There's no like, you're going to do this and this and this, right? It's here's the files. Let me know if you have any questions. I was feeling very overwhelmed, and I made a comment in my goal setting with her about, I've been, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm feeling better. She's like, "Oh no, you should never feel overwhelmed. You need to just let me know, and we'll take some things off. I've put a lot on you, and I know I've put a lot on you, and but I don't want you feeling overwhelmed. Um, so just let me know." And just that statement right there took away all that overwhelmness.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine I've been in a situation where I have been extraordinarily overwhelmed, and my boss could have come to me with support, or
Mm-hmm.
my boss could have come to me with demands.
Yep.
And my boss came to me with demands like, right, get on board, get on with it, get on track, help me out. You don't have a choice here,
Right.
right? Like it, and if it simply would have been worded differently, like, hey, I understand this is scary and this is overwhelming and this is a lot. All you need to do is give me a call and I will come and do whatever I need to help you.
Yep.
The two different conversations bring about two very different responses and feelings.
Oh, very much. Yeah. Um, it's just been a very interesting time. Um, it's a little odd to like normally, and I know normally I end up not going to meetings. I end up not doing calls a lot in January. I think last January we didn't podcast very much.
Right? Yeah,
Um,
we took a lot of time off last January.
yeah. Right. I don't get to go out with my friends as much. And I'm always feeling my life it really has been just a normal July for me. It's been,
Isn't
again,
that so
it
nice?
is. I'm still working long hours, right? Again, I want to like preface that I'm still working long hours. I'm still doing more work than I've ever done. I still,
But you're still able to maintain your day to day life. Your work is
yes.
not your sole 100% focus. Go to sleep, wake up, go to work,
Yep.
go to sleep, wake up, go to. No, you're still doing things for you. You're still able to maintain self care and friends and relationships, right? Like that's important and that's huge. That's a huge improvement from one
Mhm.
January to the next.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's been just been an interesting January, and it's almost over. But it's just been refreshing. It's been refreshing. I don't know what next January will look like because who knows what I'll be doing, but um, this, at least this one was it's been a good one. So,
I'm glad to hear that.
yeah.
Speaking of this January, I'm sure that we are all waiting on bated breath for an update.
Ah, yes. Yes. So, my friend came into town. He got here. So, and I know you know some of this, and but I know the
I was going to say,
listeners
I'm
don't.
good. I'm glad you're telling the whole story because this is going to be good.
So I was, first of all, I really want to say that I'm very proud of myself right now. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my recovery. I feel like I'm, for the first time, I feel like I'm living my recovery instead of just trying to hang on to my recovery. Um, Now, that doesn't mean things don't occur, but I do feel that I am navigating this just very naturally. So I'm really excited about that. But what happened? Well, he was supposed to fly in on a Friday, and I get a call from him, and he's like, "I missed my flight." And we had talked that morning. Um, And then I get the call. He's like, I missed my flight. And I thought he was joking. I was like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, I missed my flight. I'm like, no, stop it. Because he's a comedian. He's like, right. He's very funny. And I've had people do this to me in the past. So I was just like, no, no. And he's like, no, I really, hang on. I gotta go. He says. And I was like, oh shit. And so I had a moment, right? It was probably a 30-second moment. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this by myself. And I immediately texted you. And I said he missed his flight, and I was ready and willing to go down that spiral. Um,
Yes.
I knew
So
what I needed. I knew I would not be able to navigate it by myself. What were we gonna say?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna say it in a few minutes after you get further into the story.
Okay. Um, so I definitely could, like I said, I knew I felt it immediately. I felt the fear. The fear came, oh my God, it hit me square in the face. Picked up, called you. Do you have a few minutes to talk? I think we talked for less than 5 minutes.
Yep, it was less than 5 minutes. Yep.
And I was like, oh, hang on, he's calling me back. I'll call you back. And so I hung up with you and get on the phone with him. And he's like, okay, this is what happened. And he's like, hey, can I FaceTime you? I was like, yeah. And that was the first time we ever FaceTimed. Normally we just talk on the phone. So I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. So he FaceTimed me. And he gets me on the phone. He's like, "Hey, I just want you to know I'm really at the airport. I don't want you to think that I'm flaking on you." And so he takes the phone and he pans it around the airport so I could see that he was at the airport.
Okay, so let's pause there. Let's go back to your phone call to me because I think there's something really, really important here that I think a lot of people will be able to relate to. So, when you just now, what you were saying when you were telling the story, and what I hear you saying is that you were spiraling, you were falling into your codependency.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not really coming, he's been lying, I got catfish, whatever the
Hmm.
situation, right? Anybody could come up with whatever story they want. When we got on the phone, what I heard was I know I'm going to spiral, but I'm going to prevent myself from spiraling, so I'm not going to feel anything I feel.
Yeah.
I'm going to be healthy and I'm fighting to be healthy and I can't be healthy because I have feelings, but having feelings isn't healthy, so I don't want to feel this.
Yeah. That was really exactly what it was.
So it's and what's I think is really really important about this because I do this to myself and I have a feeling that probably a lot of people in the world do this is it's healthy to feel our feelings,
Hmm.
right? It's healthy to feel disappointed. It's healthy to feel fear. It's healthy to feel anxiety. It's healthy to feel overwhelmed or frustrated, especially when here I was so excited to meet this person after months of talking and now it's not going to happen. And I don't know what's going to play out next, right? We talked before you knew he was at
Hmm.
the airport for sure.
Right.
Before he had rebooked right before
Yeah.
anything happened is when we talked. And it's it's not unhealthy to feel what we feel. Feeling anxious, feeling afraid, feeling disappointed, frustrated, overwhelmed, none of that is unhealthy.
Right. And it was very much it was the little Dawn. The grown Dawn, the adult Dawn, no, shit happens. Shit happens. It was
I think
all.
the adult Dawn was afraid of the little Dawn,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, the little Dawn was the one that was disappointed and had all those feelings. The adult Dawn was like, right, I understand, I get it. But the adult Dawn at the same time was looking at the little Dawn like, stop it. Stop
Yes.
it. You don't have any reason to cry. You stop it. There's nothing to cry. Knock it off. Come on, let's go. Let's go be healthy. Come
Uh,
on.
One of the things I said to myself, and I said this to myself a lot, and I have said this to myself a lot, when especially once we really started getting talking and talking about coming, him coming and all of this was, and I still say this to myself because I do want to remember and stay in connection with with myself, with my healthy self, that I will be okay if it works out, and I will be okay if it doesn't work out. I'm not
Yes.
wishing either one into existence. I'm just I really keep telling myself, the adult Dawn keeps telling my little Dawn, we'll be okay if it works out, and we will be okay if it doesn't work out. It doesn't matter which way it goes, we will be okay. And I think that one of the things that I was right, because I've been telling myself, because I that is something I'm trying to reassure her, is I think that's where I went was, oh, I gotta protect her. No, 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 no. We know, Dawn. Like we know, little Dawn. We know that we're gonna be okay. We know.
Right.
And she was having a moment.
And it's I think it's just so important to just really take notice, right? Because if you hadn't have experienced that, I wouldn't be aware of this right now. Right, there's so many times that little Ashley has a feeling.
Hmm.
And I'm like, nah, hold on, baby. We don't, come on. That's not really how we feel. We don't really mean that. That's not, come on, let's keep walking. Let's just ignore that feeling and just keep moving. And that's not healthy.
One of the things you said to me, and you said this was said in the Monday night meeting, one of them was after I was talking about this, and you were like, you said, Dawn, get out of your all your healthy, get out of your the healthy the thoughts, just wait, stop, because what I was doing is I was over I was over trying to be I was overly trying to be healthy.
Yeah, you were overdoing it.
Yes.
I wasn't allowing myself to feel what I needed to feel because I was trying to not be who I was
Right. And
in that moment.
I think that's right. That's what it's kind of we're set like in recovery. That's what we're like in a way we're setting people up to.
Right. You can do that with unhealthy things like addictions, alcohol, emotional dependency on other people. But you can also do that with something like being healthy,
Right.
right? Like I overdo my loyalty. I overdo my people pleasing, my kindness. I
Hmm.
overdo, right? I overdo positive traits and positive qualities that when I overdo it, it ends up hurting me and it
Right.
becomes a negative.
Right.
And I can overdo recovery and healthy in the exact same way that I
Yes.
can overdo all of these other things.
And that was, I think, one of the things that I was doing, and I have done because, right, I have been living a very, very healthy life, a very uncodependent life for a long time. But I'm still a codependent. I still have those feelings. even not being a codependent really has nothing to do with my codependency. I'm still human. I still get disappointed. I still get sad. I still get happy. I still like all that's not going to go, that all should never go away. But sometimes with my healthy, being so healthy and wanting to be so healthy, that I smother all of those feelings as they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have to feel that. We're healthy. We shouldn't have to feel it. Well, yeah, I should. It's okay to feel that. That's life.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's not like recovery and being healthy does not mean bad things don't happen.
Right.
It just means that when bad things happen, I can deal with it. It
And
doesn't mean I don't feel bad.
right. And that's for me, what the epitome of recovery was in that moment for me. When I get the call, I could probably look at my phone and I bet you I texted you less than a minute after it happened. And that's the epitome of recovery to me. I felt it. I knew it was coming. I knew how bad it was going to be because I know myself. I've done the work to know myself that I knew this was something I couldn't do on my own. And I do a lot on my own. I work through a lot of shit on my own. There are sometimes I just can't. And this was one of those I can't. And so I had to reach out. I didn't just throw out a text message to whoever to whoever was available, right?
Right.
I was very clear and concise in who I needed to talk to in that moment. And if I couldn't have talked to you in that moment, I would have waited to talk to you at a moment that would have worked because I knew I needed someone that was not going to say to me, "Oh man, Dawn, that sucks. Oh man, Dawn. Oh, right." You did not play into that at all.
No. Yeah,
You,
no.
you let me say what I needed to say. And then you were like, "Okay, now wait a minute. Just wait a minute." And it, 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 it stopped that spiral. Just by the few little things you said stopped the spiral. It didn't make it go away, but it stopped
Just
it.
stopped it from getting worse.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, that's all it takes is something to interfere. Something to put a pause on my own circle of thoughts that ends up running and running. And the more it runs, it's like the hamster on the wheel, and
Hmm.
somebody just sticks their hand in and stops the wheel.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean in another situation that you could have been the person should go to. It could have been somebody else. It doesn't matter. What matters is in that moment, because of all the work I have done, all the awareness that I have obtained about myself and what I need, I knew what I needed to do and I knew where I needed to go to.
That's so awesome.
That is
I'm proud
recovery.
of you. Like that's
Thank you.
like I hope you feel a lot of pride in
I'm
yourself.
very much
Like
in that. Very much.
that was a huge, and even in that moment I remember thinking like, damn Dawn, good job. That's huge.
Whew.
Okay, so back on to what happens.
Okay,
So he's
so
at the airport. He calls. He says, "Hey, I just want you to see I'm here on FaceTime."
yep. And then we talked for a few minutes while he was on FaceTime. He's getting it all. What he did was he had to pay extra money. He got on a flight for the next day. This poor guy, he really, really showed up. So he had to pay the shuttle was $25 to get to the airport. The shuttle driver took them to the wrong airport. New Orleans has a new airport. The shuttle driver took them to the old airport, then had to get them to the new airport, which threw them behind. He had to take a shuttle back home, so it was another $25. He had to pay for the next the like he could have canceled his flight. He could have canceled his flight. He could have said this isn't going to work, whatever.
I'll just see you next weekend, next time. Like, I just missed my flight. Holy crap, I'm out all this money. And
Right?
yes, he
Nope.
could have been frustrated and irritated himself.
And he was. Right? You could hear he was, but he was very, no, I'm coming. I'm coming there. Let me book. I'll just what do I need to do? Ask them what I need to do. $100, you can get on tomorrow's flight. So then he had to obviously take the shuttle back. Um, and then he had to get back to the airport the next day. So, but anyway, so we were talking, he showed me the airport, showed me that he was there. And it was such for the all those fears really went away because what happened was this individual knew without me telling them what I needed. He gave me that without me having to ask for it. And we actually had this conversation over the weekend about it when he was here about it. He's like, he goes, I just knew. He goes, everything you've been through and what you've told me about all the trauma and all the lies and all that. He goes, I didn't want you to think that I was some guy trying to like, oh, I'm not showing up or I'm not this and just he's like, no. He goes, I know what I would have needed and I wanted to give that to you.
That's
And
awesome.
and so I got that and then I ended up, you and I got back on the phone and I remember you saying to me, you sound completely different than you did earlier.
Because you did, right? Like you went from sounding obviously frustrated and worried and
Frantic.
afraid, frantic, yes, very frantic, to sounding um still disappointed, but not at all frantic,
Yeah.
confident, secure.
Yes. Someone that, and I think this is what I find the most interesting about him is he shows up. His words, he doesn't just say the words, his actions show it. So, um, so then I get to the airport on Saturday night. Um, I go to the bar. There's a bar, like right off you get off the tram at the airport, there's a bar. So I just went into the bar and got a drink. Um, when you get off, and I'm thinking, forgetting that he doesn't know this airport. I said, when you get off, there's a PF Chang's to the right. As soon as you get out of the gate, right there, at the right. So he calls me. He's like, where are you at? And I'll see a PF Chang's. And I'm like, there's a PF Chang's. Like, right. I mean, literally, you walk through and like walk out from the thing.
And it's right there.
It's right there.
Like,
So,
what do you mean you don't see it? It's right there. Keep like go out to the gate and look left.
right. So I'm like, so I get up and I get up from the bar. I left out my purse. I left my, then they were all, the bar was very nice, but I'm standing outside. Like, I'm like, I don't see you. I'm standing right here. I'm like, oh, what are you near? And there's I can't tell, I cannot pronounce the name. It's a little Asian Vietnamese type restaurant. You get like to go, and he's like, I'm near that. I'm like, that's way on the other side by the gate, on the other gates. Like,
Oh,
where?
he went the wrong way.
Well, nope. Now, hang on. So I'm like, okay, well, come back where you got off at, where you got off at. And he's like, okay. And so I'm watching and I'm watching, I'm looking. I'm only person standing like where I'm at. He's like, okay, I'm back. No, you're not. I don't see you.
Like I'm standing here waiting for you. What do you
Like
mean?
I'm the only person standing here like a fool on my phone, walking around, looking. Now how do you miss me?
How do
And
you miss me?
how do you miss me? I'm like the only person standing here. And so he's like, but I don't see you. And I'm like, okay, where are you at? Well, I'm right here at the gate where I got on the plane. I'm like, oh, did you not come across the tram? What tram?
Oh shit.
So all of the areas are their gates, right? And so that's where you have to leave your people. So where he was at, I could not even get to. And he's like, well, can't you come over here? And I'm like, no, they're not going to let me come over
Right, you got to have
there.
a plane ticket and go through security.
Right. So what you do is you leave your people, you go through the gate. It's a air quote gate. So when like you swipe your thing, your pass, your ticket, you get on the tram, and then you're over to the terminals.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he's looking for me over in the terminals, and I'm in the actual airport. And so he just didn't know. And I'm like, get on the tram. Where's the tram? I said, you see, so I had to, okay. I said, so he didn't, normally people just follow everybody. Like it's like everybody knows exactly and they just follow everybody. And he's like, I've been over here. I don't know where I'm at. What do I do? I said, well, find security. Oh, I don't see security. I said, well, yes, I said, it's in the middle. The Starbucks is right. Like I know this airport so well. I said, as soon as you get through here, there should be a Starbucks on the left. Find the Starbucks, and it's right by there. Oh, it was a fine. Finally, he gets in the tram. He gets across. I just went back into the bar and sat there. And I'm like, when you get across, I'll be in the bar.
I'm just waiting on you. It's cool. Have a drink
Yeah,
or two.
yep, I'm
Let
good.
my nerves go away.
So then he finally gets across, and he comes in. And and he runs over to me, gives me a big hug, and we had a drink, and then we took off. But it was funny. It was I, I that's the other thing I noticed about myself. Like, right, I'm like, normally I would have been so frustrated with that.
Because he couldn't find you.
Yes.
Like,
Like,
how do you not know where the terminal is? How do you not know the difference? But see, it's a new airport. Like, I would be totally lost too.
right.
But it's nice that you're able to be open minded about it.
I'm not, and I'm gonna say that is another recovery thing that I've gotten. Right. It's about me, and it's me. Is I'm just like the reality is it so you don't know where to go in the airport. It's a new airport to you. You haven't, right? I've
You're not
gotten
judging it.
no.
That's a new, right? It's not judging someone else for being lost,
Right.
right?
I
How many times you like, I'm terrible with directions. Like, if I go to some place and I use my GPS to get there, I will have to use my GPS 30 times in order to be able to get there without it.
right.
I'm
Same.
terrible. And every day somebody will say, like, I was talking to somebody the other day and he was like, well, I'm headed north. And I was like, the sky is cloudy. I can't tell where the sun rose from. Which way is north?
Yeah.
You can't
I'm
tell
bad
me
at
that.
that
I don't
stuff
know
too.
where north is.
Right.
And so many people, how do you not know north? That's a judge thing, right? They're judging how somebody else
Yep.
could not know something. So that's a huge thing that we do in recovery is teach ourselves not to judge ourselves and not to judge other people.
Right.
And
And
that's what you did. You didn't judge them. Good job.
thanks. And so, right, but what I did was I made myself comfortable. I'm like, okay, because I could have sat out in the seats where people sit. I'm like, I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm just going to go get a drink. So,
Yeah, you could have waited for him on edge, like tapping your foot, looking around, like, where the hell is he now? Yeah,
right, what's
yeah.
taking so long? Blah, blah, blah. Nope. Went into a restaurant that was easy to find. Well, I thought, but it was. It was because once he got off, then he knew exactly where it was. But right, I ended up having a great conversation with the bartender, this girl that was sitting there getting ready to fly out, just whatever. It made the time go fast. I was enjoyed and so enjoying myself. So right when we figured out where he was and what he needed to do, I just went right back in and sat down and was still picked up my conversation, whatever. And I think that was the difference, right? I just was enjoying me.
Yeah.
And so there was no room for resentment or frustration because I was happy. If he wouldn't have shown up, I would have been disappointed, yes, right? But I wasn't like dwelling on it. I was actually having a conversation with two other women and laughing and joking and all of these things, and I was good. So there was no
Just
reason,
enjoying yourself. That's
right?
good. And that makes it easier, right?
Mhm.
If the intensity level is already turned down,
Yep,
then when something bad or negative happens, it will be a lower level
right.
intensity than if the dial was already turned up.
Yep. It's like, okay, I'm right here. I'll just be right there sitting here drinking.
So, okay, so he finally finds you at the restaurant. You guys have a drink and
He
head
lost his
home.
he lost his phone.
Oh, how'd he lose his phone?
Well, we were walking to we sat and had a drink. We get up, we go to the walking to get to go to the car, and he's like looking for his phone. I can't find my phone. I think I heard something drop on the plane. Blah 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 blah. Ended up he left it at the bar. This is the other thing. He was so scattered. I know he was so excited. He was
Probably nervous too,
yes, yes.
scattered all over. So he ended up leaving his phone at the bar.
Let
So He didn't have to buy a new one, I take it?
Well, so then when he had took the phone out of his, like sat down, took the phone out of his pocket, put it face down, right where da 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 da. He went back and got his phone. It broke. He cracked the screen.
Oh, dang.
So couldn't recover that. We had to go the next day to get him a new
What
phone.
a weekend. This is only Saturday. I get off of work on Friday and I try to go to the airport to see my new girlfriend, and I'm all excited and nervous and anxious. And then I miss my flight. And then I'm all disappointed and frustrated. And then I finally get there the next day and I'm all excited and anxious. And then I break my damn phone. Holy moly, man.
I know.
Like putting myself in his shoes, and I'm like, holy shit, this woman probably thinks I'm nuts. I'm
Right?
trying really hard not to be frustrated. I'm trying to smile and laugh, and I'm frustrated as hell because everything's not going right. And like, wow.
And and I'm just looking at me and how I navigated it. I didn't try to fix him. I didn't try to take over. I did it, and I would have done that in the past. Well, we should get you, we should run and go get you a new phone. We should this, we should this. I just let him have it. Let him completely have it. What he was going to do is his. It is not mine. He is a grown ass man and he can figure it out. And he did. And I'm not saying he wasn't stressed about it, right? He was trying to get it to work. Because he is a performer, right? He gets a lot of texts and a lot of calls with for scheduling things. He can't really be without a phone. Um, he also had given his sister my address in case something was killed. He's like, here,
Yes, I would do that too.
yes.
If I
Um,
disappear, this is who took me.
yep, exactly. So he's like, I like if what if she can't get a hold of me and blah 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 blah. But I stayed out of it because it really had nothing to do with me. I was not going to take that from him and try to control it and fix it because that it was not my thing to do. And so I just let him have it and didn't even I hate to say I didn't even like I felt bad for him, but like I took on none of those
That's
feelings.
amazing. Good for you. Another
Thank
congratulations.
you. Um,
So you guys get home. Saturday was good. Anything eventful happened the rest of the weekend? I mean, I assume it was a great weekend.
it was an amazing weekend. There was a few things that were just different for me. There was a lot of conversation. A lot of one of the things I think I said in the last podcast, not was, he had reached out about, I hope that I'm what you want, I mean, what you expect. I hope I'm good enough. I hope I hope I can satisfy you. I hope I can this, right? Some insecurities. Um, and there was some things, nothing major, but what it was there was conversations around all of this. When something was misunderstood, and I'll just use this one example, was after we'd been intimate, I made the comment, I was all right. And
I just have to giggle because I'm sorry, Dawn, what woman looks at a man and thinks that is a good comment to make
I
after the first
just
time they have sex?
I just said it. I didn't even
It's all right.
I and I said it so sarcastically, like, and that's something I would say to my boys, not, you know what I mean? It would be just like, anyways, I meant it very sarcastic. And he's like,
Like I'm just comfortable and I'm just being me and I'm just like being a smartass.
right, that's who I am. I was just I mean, I was curled up all into him, and right, we were just, and, he asked. And so I was like, that was all right. And, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but it was dark and it's this. And if I could have seen your face and I could have gauged it, but." And I was like, "Wait, I was joking. I was joking." And so,
But you guys were able to talk about it.
yes. So
That's
that,
amazing.
so there was a lot of that kind of situation where if something was said, instead of holding resentments, which I normally would have done, I would have second guessed, I would have whatever. We just talked about it.
You
And so,
just cleared the air and then let it go.
and then let it go. And so then it was very easy to, just keep it moving. Because the one thing I don't want to do in any relationship going forward is hold resentments, because resentments are eventually going to destroy it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you don't deal with those early on, they don't go away.
It's really, really important to be able to have those conversations,
Hmm.
right? Like one of the most harmful things I ever did to myself was pretend to be okay or happy or satisfied with
Right?
something that I actually wasn't okay, happy, or satisfied by. And that's not hurting and or it's not helping anyone. It's hurting myself. And by not sharing what I need and what I think and what I feel, it's actually hurting the other person too, because
Hmm.
then they think I'm happy with something I'm not actually happy with.
Exactly. So a couple of things that these were real prime examples um of this were, one, he's really loud. And I say that because you and I are loud, like
I'm
and
loud. I'm very loud.
and so he had told me, he's like, I'm loud. Some people I say I'm loud. I said, oh, I'll be fine. I said, I'm loud. I said, people around, like one of my really good girlfriends, you, like they're loud. So we're loud. And he's like, no, I'm really loud. And I was like, I was kind of blew it off because I'm
Right.
like,
Like everybody's loud. We know. Like when I absolutely when somebody tells me they are loud, I blow it off. I am so loud that when I'm on a Zoom meeting, I have to intentionally quiet myself because I will hear myself echo from multiple
uh-huh.
speakers.
Colin's always telling me, because we're in the apartment, he's in his room, and he's not listening, but he's like, Mom, you're so loud. He goes, how could I not hear your conversation?
Oh, Cameron
Like,
tells me that too.
yeah.
I have to be so careful because like I'll go and hide in my bedroom
Yeah.
closet, in my master closet, because sometimes I'm not thinking and I'll come out later and she'll be like, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear everything.
Uh-huh.
The house is small and I'm loud.
Exactly.
So, okay,
But
so we
anyways,
just blew it off.
so I blew it off. And then when he's here and we're just like, we were on the couch laying, and we were snuggling, we're watching TV, we're watching SNL, and he would like really loud. It was really loud. Really, 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 really,
His
really.
laughing.
He's yes. And so he would do it, and then it was the first couple times I didn't say anything, but then it got to a point where I was getting a headache because my ear was hurting because it was so loud.
Yes, there have been, I love my daughter. She is my 13-year-old. She is my mini me.
Uh-huh.
And there's times when we are in the car and we are talking and she's so loud, it literally hurts my ear.
Yes.
Like I have to be like, baby, I'm so sorry, but I need you to talk a little bit quieter. It's hurting my ear.
Yes. Sorry, I hit my mic. Yeah. And so so I was like, babe, you're hurting my ear. I said, you gotta be a little bit quieter. And then, right, it's after 10 o'clock, right? My walls are thin. I get nothing annoys me more after 10 o'clock, and my neighbors are being loud and crazy and beating and
Yeah.
doing. So I was like, hey, we gotta be careful. So then, or, be quieter. So I did that. And then we went into the bedroom. And again, on my other side, my wall butts up to bedrooms, and they have little kids. And so he's being loud. And I just was like, yes, babe, there's kids over there. We got to be a little bit quieter. So, and then on the next day, what I did was I just was like, I found myself, I said, you are loud. I just was like, you are loud. He's like, I told you. And
I warned you, I was loud.
he said, but you kept saying you're loud too. And I was like, okay. And it was very funny. But, I was like, yeah, babe, you may hurt my ear. And he's like, I said, I'm just go if you do, if you're, I'll tell you if you're hurting my ear. So I'm gonna do. We had a conversation about it, and I'll just, baby, gotta shh, and not
Right.
in
You
a,
gotta, I mean, if he's comfortable with it and he's okay with it, that's what's got to happen, right? There has to be a way where, especially like I understand I am loud. I
Mhm.
know I am loud. I talk loud. I laugh loud. I sing loud. Like I
Me
know I
too.
am loud.
No,
And I
he's
need
loud.
to be with someone who accepts my loudness. And at the same time, they have to be able to say, babe, you're getting too carried away.
Right. And in a
Easy.
loving way, not will you stop, not will you,
Right. Not like,
right?
shh,
Yeah. Babe.
jeez.
Yeah, babe, babe. So I did that. I kept doing, you can't see me, but I was like, I would be like, babe, babe. And I'd like like flap my
Like you're doing
hands.
your hand like like a little.
But then right middle of the day, if he's on one side of the room and I was on the other side of the room, I didn't do that. Right. It was, I made it very after 10 o'clock. And number two, if I was on him or very close to him and it was loud
Right.
and it hurt my ear, then I said it. I
Right. If
wasn't
we're in close
mm,
proximity, like, and
in the
not only
car.
that, but like, I feel like I'll even catch myself sometimes, right? Especially at work. I'll go to talk to somebody and I'll be like, holy crap, that just echoed throughout the entire warehouse. I did not mean to be that loud. I am
Right.
so sorry. But I don't, it's just, it is a part of who I am. The person that I am with is going to have to appreciate that they will always hear me
Right.
because
Just
I am loud.
right. And so it was just, and we were able to joke about it. Like he's like, I told you, and you said, but then there was no, again, there was no resentment, no animosity, anything afterwards about it. It was just, yeah. One of the other things he did and was, he likes to bite. So we would be kissing, whatever else with, right? And he would bite. And it wasn't like I'm all for nibbling.
I like to bite.
This was like,
No, I like to bite.
oh yeah, well,
I want to feel your skin.
oh,
I'm not trying to draw blood, but I want
right.
to feel your skin between my teeth. I want to feel I don't know what it is. Like when I
He said
kiss
the same
someone,
thing.
I want to grab their lip with with my teeth. When we're having sex, I want to grab their neck or their collarbone. I can't tell you what it is. It is some sort of like a fetish type
But
of
do you
thing.
bite down hard?
I
Because what
I
he
have
was,
had conversations with every single intimate partner I have ever had that has
yeah,
said, you need to be cognizant of your teeth and your claws. You're not a cat.
okay, okay,
So, and the claws aren't like that's not an intentional
no,
thing,
right,
but the teeth are, yes, no, there is something about, yes, I completely understand where he is coming from because there is
okay,
something about biting that is just, I, and no, my intent is not to hurt the other person, but yes, I am biting.
yeah. So
There's pressure.
he had bit me on the night before on my arm, and it hurt, and I kind of just let it go. But I woke up the next
I don't
morning
know
and
if
I
I
had,
would bite your arm though.
well, it was like kind of like my shouldery arm.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Collarbone
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
upper arm. Yes.
And I had a bruise, and I didn't say anything when it hurt that night before, but then I woke up the next day and I had a bruise because I bruise pretty easily. Um, and so I was like, I got a bruise. And then he kept doing it. And then one point, like there was one point, he bit me on my arm and he had bit me on my lip and it was hurting. My skin is very sensitive. Um,
It can't hurt, right? I have to be able to enjoy it. I have to be able, like, if I'm not enjoying it, I have to say something.
exactly. And what I did then, um, at one point he bit my nipple really, really hard. And I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, babe, you can't bite me like that. I said, because now I'm not into this. Now I've lost everything you've worked for, it's gone because you've now hurt me. And when there's pain like that, I just don't respond. My body isn't going to respond now. And I need you. It hurts. My skin is sensitive. And I said, I'm not enjoying it, which then is going to impact how you enjoy it. And I said, I need you not to do that.
How important that conversation is, though,
Hmm.
right? Like, I I could see being in a situation of that nature and ignoring,
Hmm.
not stopping in the middle, right? Because holy crap, we're in the middle of the act and
Right?
I'm just going to stop you. Like, I, that is very, for me, uncomfortable thought. So I could absolutely see very easily just letting it go. And then, like, I don't know, maybe not having sex with him again, or
Right.
maybe um pretending that I like it for the next 20 years when I really don't. Who
Ba-
knows, right?
I've
Like,
done both.
yeah, I
And
think it's so important. And then the flip side of why it's so important, right, is there's some women that would think that is an absolute turn on and is the sexiest thing in the world.
right,
And there's other women who are like you that, like, no, don't hurt me. I don't like that. It hurts. I'm done. You just lost everything. Like,
right.
I just want to go watch TV now.
Yep. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like there's some women that it's like that for. And how is he to know if we don't have this conversation?
Right. And I want to give him credit where credit was due. And I say this, right? I'm saying all these little things, and these are really about me finding my voice in this relationship. And then on the other side, in these ways of, right, oh, this happened, and I want to use my voice and I want to ask for what I need in ways that I need him to be cognitive of. But then I also, the other side of it, where I actually was able to experience something sexually that I had not experienced before, um, with him. And not in that moment, but like the next day we were talking about something and I was like, yeah. And I told him, um, and I said, I've never had that happen to me before. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh. And then so then it became back, the conversation came back around about me saying it was all right. He's like, so you said that, but now you're telling me this. Oh, I get it. And everything connected for him.
Right. The dots just connected. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so, so important to have those
Hmm.
conversations. And another side of that too is that he was able to be a safe place for you to
Yeah.
have that conversation, right?
Yep.
Like, I can't tell you, I know I myself have fantasies that I am just now discovering that I have never had a man that was willing to
Right.
even hear them without judging them,
Hmm.
let alone hear me say, I do or don't like this, and then be willing to experiment and try, and then be willing to help me get comfortable
Right.
going to different places and experimenting and trying different things.
Because maybe I down the road, maybe I mean, like maybe would like, there are things that I want to try differently in every aspect, not just in the bedroom, but in every
Right.
aspect
In
of
life
life.
in general, like we could use talking about eating on that 85-story building rooftop that we
Right.
were talking about in the past, right? That's the same thing.
It's I want, and I think that's the thing. It's like I want to have this that find this person that can be a safe place for me to try out the things that I've maybe been scared to try out before and ask for what I need and want, and we have a discussion, and maybe it works and we do, and maybe it works and we don't, and or it doesn't work and we don't. It doesn't matter, but to be able to have someone to go to that I can
To,
feel comfortable enough to say what I need to say. And we've talked since, obviously we talk now every day, but it's been how like this was the other thing that was really interesting too. And we're going a little long today, so I apologize to listeners, but it's a podcast, you can pause it. um One of the other things that happened too that was new, I mean, we were only together for 2 days, but for those 2 days it was this, probably twice a day, we checked in with each other with how it was going, how we thought it was going.
yeah, it's so important. And I really like, I love the analogy. I'm going to stick with the analogy, right? So we're having a conversation about eating on the rooftop of an 85-story building.
Hmm.
That's huge. It's ginormous. It's towering. It's terrifying. It's something neither one of us have ever done before, but I really want to do it.
Hmm.
And he really wants to do it, but we're both terrified. I need somebody that's going to like be like, it's okay, babe. Come on, let's go try it.
Right.
And if we get up there and my stomach is turning too much to eat, that's okay. We go back down and we go eat somewhere else.
Right. Or
And
we're
maybe we
sitting,
come back in a week and try again.
right. We're halfway through the meal and, hey, are you okay? You good? You good?
Right.
How you
Check
feel?
in,
How do
make
you feel
sure
this
it's
is
still
going?
enjoyable. Yes.
And
I
right.
love that.
And that was something new that I have not experienced. And we have continued that over the last couple of weeks, just really making sure that we're staying in tune. Now, I say all this, right? All this healthy. Right. I'm so being doing things so differently. I'm really proud of myself. And there are also those, is this too good to be true?
Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Waiting for the other shoe to drop. And there is a podcast we've done about waiting for the other shoe to drop. But that is also very much part of this for me.
Absolutely. I can definitely understand how it would be.
Because isn't it too good to be true? Well,
I
what?
can definitely understand how it would be. I don't think anything's too good to be true. I think we put our rose colored glasses
Hmm.
on and we see what we want to see. And if we put our shit colored glasses on, we would see that too.
Yeah.
I don't think, right? Everything has its positives and its negatives. It's a matter of picking and choosing whether or not those positives are enough to be okay with the negatives.
And that's where I've been this last couple of weeks is right. He is not perfect. I am not perfect. There are things about him. A couple of things that I'm like, but what I'm able to do now is I can identify them, right? I'm not ignoring them. I know what they are, that I feel it, I see it, but I'm not making it more than it is. I just, okay, all right. Um, and I'm taking that item and looking at it. So here's all these things he does. Does that really, does that really matter? And what I'm finding with me is that doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, I noticed it, but it's not enough. Like it's not a deal breaker, I guess.
Right. Right. It's not like, so what if he leaves the water running while he brushes his teeth?
Yes,
And I turn the water off while I brush my teeth. So what? I can just go in the kitchen and get a drink while he brushes his teeth and I can let that go.
right. It's
Right?
the
Like it's okay. It's not a big deal.
Yep, it's those little things that I'm I'm noticing that I just was like that in the past I would have been like, can't you shut the water off when you brush your teeth? Who the fuck
Right.
cares if he doesn't shut the water off when he brushes his teeth? Like I said, you said I can just leave the bathroom.
And we're not saying, I have no idea if he shuts the water off.
I don't
And that was
either,
just an
to be
example that I
honest.
just pulled up.
It was
Like
good.
that's not right. But that's it, right? In the past, it would have been like, oh, you're running my water bill up. Turn the water off when you brush your teeth, please. Come on, man. Like even if it was just a quick, nice 2 minute conversation in the past, I would have had to say something.
Yes,
And now I realize I don't have to say something. I can just go get a drink. I can go walk
whatever.
outside. I can go do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's important. I'm so glad that you guys had a good time. I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
you guys are still talking. And I have to say, you have, over the last several months that you have been going through this and dealing with this, you have allowed me to open my mind. Whereas before, I was very adamant on, if when I start dating, it's not going to be outside of my area, right? I got to
Hmm.
be able to see the person 20 miles, 30 miles, 50 miles, right?
Yeah.
I got to be able to drive an hour and be around them. And that's not necessarily the case. And you have opened my mind to that um, opportunity, I guess I would say.
I think for me, what I'm learning in this process, and again, I don't know what this will be long term. It doesn't matter what it's going to be long term. What it, what I am learning is that intimacy has nothing to do with distance.
Yes.
True, honest to God intimacy, the person can be 2 hours away, they can be 8 hours away, they can be 12 hours away. But if you are a like-minded individual, and I feel like, I know you believe very much in this as well, but right, one of the things he said early on was we knew each other in another life. That's why this is so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that we were meant to be, to
I
me.
strongly believe that every single person we interact with on a daily basis, right? Somebody that
Hmm.
is in our life, even if they're only there for a week, they were meant to be in our
Yes.
life for that period. We are meant to gain something. I don't think we meet people by accident. I don't think we
Right.
interact by accident.
And so he is this what I'm taking from him, because it really, I'm not worrying about what the future is. We've talked about things in the future, but we're not planning things in the future. Um, and I feel like what I'm learning through him is that intimacy is not about me having someone on my couch next to me 24/7. And I always thought that's what it was. I can have, with the right person, I can have a level of intimacy that is comparable to no other if the other person is,
Engaged.
yeah. And
Yeah, I can
that's
definitely see that.
and that's hopeful. And that's what you asked me one time about what I was feeling with it. And it's hopeful. This whole thing is making me feel hopeful that I don't have that thought of, I mean, if this doesn't work out and I'm single the rest of my life, I'll be okay. I'll be good. But it also shows me that don't I don't have to be, and I won't be in it, but right, I'm just living day every day. I'm just living for every day.
I love that.
And yes, you
One
said
day at a time.
one day at a time. I'm very nervous about Valentine's Day. Valentine's very much to me has always been the stupid holiday. It's not a holiday, but the stupid day. And it was right. I would dismiss it and I would do all things with it because my experience has always been to be let down.
Negative, always, forever. I've always, my dad is the only man that hasn't disappointed me on Valentine's Day consistently and regularly.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Um, my dad's didn't ever do anything. So Valentine's Day was
I
he
mean,
would,
mine didn't either. That's why I wasn't disappointed, right? I
yeah,
never
right,
expected them to do any. My
right.
my 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 biological father, my dad, would every couple of years, especially when he lived close and we were very close. I used to we take the kids over there as an adult. He would get me a card or flowers or some
Yeah,
chocolates or right. The last probably 5 or 10 years, my biological dad has definitely gone above and beyond to try to make Valentine's Day special to me when he lived here. But I never expected anything from my dad's, so I wasn't disappointed by that.
right. And Valentine's Day is the day of love, or it's supposed to be the day of love. And so when
Right,
you think about Valentine's, you think about a romantic partner.
right.
And my romantic partners have been inconsistent, and I'm not saying that's only them, right? I played a very much of a factor in that as well. I remember telling people early on that I think I don't like flowers. They're a waste of money. I love flowers. I love getting flowers, but I had told people I didn't. So guess what? I never got.
You never had to be disappointed
Right?
because you told them
Right?
not to get you flowers. So why would I be disappointed when they don't get them?
Right. So, but then when I got them, oh my God, it was the best thing ever.
Yep.
And this time around, I have not said that. I haven't said anything. And right. And I'm very, I'm nervous about Valentine's Day. It's so funny to say that, but I'm nervous about it
What's going
because,
on for Valentine's?
well, he'll be here.
Oh, he's coming. You guys have plans to see each other
Oh, I
again.
did. Okay. So about 2 weeks ago, I got about a week and a half ago, whatever. He called me and he's like, "What are you doing for Valentine's Day?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll probably do a Galentine's, go out with the girls, whatever, sit at home, whatever." He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I'm coming to town." I'm like, "What?" He didn't ask.
I love that.
He had already bought the plane ticket.
I freaking love that. I love that. There's something about that quiet confidence that I just absolutely love. He was like, I know you want to see me. You ain't got no plans. I've already got the ticket. Baby, I will be there.
Right? He didn't even know I didn't have any plans. He's not, he just, he's,
I love that.
I looked at the calendar and I'm like, so I am booked solid this whole month, except for that weekend.
That's amazing. I love it. That is so perfect.
So he's coming for 5 days and he's like, don't worry, I will not miss this flight.
I'm totally living vicariously through you right now. I love that. That's so awesome, Dawn. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank
It
you.
seems like it's working out and it went better than could be expected.
Yes.
Even with all of the not bad, but negative, crazy things that happened along the way, that's awesome. I love that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very, very happy. I guess I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I'm encouraged. I'm just, yeah, I'm just enjoying every moment of it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I'm glad. I'm really glad. What a good
Yep.
podcast this was. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So,
That
all
was
righty.
awesome.
All righty, everybody. Have a great week and talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workityouareworthit.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.